Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism back with another live video for you. A Sunday live show, a Globebusterish show, a Eru and Jaron show. I don't know, just some show. All right, get over it. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. It is normal Globebuster time. Well, about 10 minutes late. Also apologize for that. Just a lot of apologies. Let's get them all out of the way. Apologize for everything. There you go. I've now taken care of it. It is a regular Globebuster day and Globebuster time slot. And even though Bob texted me last night, I didn't get the text till this morning and saw that he's got some work going on in his house. I guess they're recarpeting. And so his office is all tore up. He can't get in there to host the show. And so I talked to Ben from Taboo. He said he wanted the day off. I thought about taking the day off. And then Eru messaged me, and Eru said he was available for the show. Last minute, I threw it all up, and it is what it is. It'll be some sort of show. It might be short, might be discombobulated, it might be out of this world, out of this galaxy, really. We don't know, but we're here. And Eru just messaged me that he's available. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here with my thumbnail. Let's see, let's get that one up. There we go. Oh, and I just realized that's the wrong thumbnail. All right, well, that's different than the thumbnail I used, isn't it? I think so. I think it's supposed to say Globebusterish. Too late. Oh, well, I set it up wrong. Deal with it. All right, welcome to the show. Also, maybe we'll be reading chats. I know Eru's got something to present, possibly. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. Let's try it out. Eru, my best friend in the whole world, how are you?
Oh, nice to hear that.
Hey,
I'm
Linda.
here with Linda, man.
Linda, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing good.
Good.
Soon leaving, unfortunately.
Oh, time to go back, huh?
Yeah, and the slavery ends. He had me moving his stuff.
Yes.
Oh,
cooking,
manual labor.
baking.
That's nice.
The same thing that you do with Misa, so you understand me, right?
I totally get it. Yeah. I know.
Okay, perfect. No, because she thinks that is horrible to do to women, and I trying to explain her that is typical things.
Well, Miss is like
I love it.
100 pounds with the soaking wet, so she can't do too much heavy lifting, but a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna maybe do the same thing.
How is Miss Jaron?
She's doing great. Thank you. I'll tell her you said hello. She's probably listening right now.
Please. Yeah, I mean, we'll soon meet, actually.
Again.
Una otra vez. Yeah.
Is Misa going with you?
Not to Amsterdam.
Because of Mr. Puppy.
Miss Puppy, yes, I know it's very confusing. Yeah, Miss Puppy, Mr. Puppy, one or the other. Yeah, so I don't think to Amsterdam for sure, and then we're still undecided completely about Dallas, just because again the dog creates issues.
Okay.
The last time we took the dog to the conference, the dog had a seizure there. So it's just the dog is just a problem, you know. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I have. I used to have 2 dogs, and I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, sometimes they're more trouble than they're worth, but you don't say that to Missa, because Missa loves the dog, and I love the dog too. But like I said, it's a troublesome little rat, I tell you. So
yeah, in terms of getting out of a home for a long time.
Absolutely. Yep. And we don't really know anybody in this area that can watch the dog, and the dog is not good with other people. You know, I've told that story before, but we rescued it from a parking lot of a grocery store or a little Dollar General, whatever. And the dog was just a puppy, and we brought it home, and it just hung out with us for, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 until it ever met somebody else. And ever since then, it just barks ridiculously at other people and doesn't let other people touch it. And anybody who was there remembers that. I mean, you guys remember you drove in the car with the dog for
Yeah,
hours.
I remember that.
She's a little strange, that dog, but it's all okay. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Dallas might be a little bit tough. With Denver, we were able to drive, as you guys know. You drove with us on the way back. But Dallas, I decided to fly, and just we don't want to fly with the dog.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. They charge you an arm and a leg for that, and you got to put them into a little crate that the dog's not used to, and it would just be a nightmare. So
That's a lot of stress for the dog.
yeah, no, and we don't need any plane seizures. That wouldn't be too much fun. So, welcome to the show, everybody. That's Iru on the other line.
No, that's a lie.
Oh, it's a lie already? Oh wow. That's,
Is live or is live?
oh no, we're live.
Oh.
Did I not tell you that already?
Hello, everyone.
Did you not know that? I'm sorry about that.
No, I didn't know that, because you tell me that I'm gonna call you in 2 minutes, but I never. Okay, yeah. I was choking all the time. Please.
Everything was a joke. No, that conversation was live. So, in case I guess I should have told you.
I think Linda here is going to take a suicide. Yeah.
No, she's not.
Yeah, she's suicide right now. Yeah, she's dead.
She's gone, and she's dead.
Yeah, she's gone to the ether.
Just like Epstein, right?
Yeah.
She just hung herself. It's over.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
No,
you must be warning, man.
I thought you knew, because the Globebusterish show starts at noon, and so we were a little bit late starting. But right when you messaged me that you were ready, I had the intro already playing, so that's why I waited 2 minutes to get the intro out of the way, and then picked up the phone. So sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. You just
no, it's okay. Elon Musk has, worse live words, so.
Yeah, he does.
No. I feel good, anytime that this kind of thing happened to me, I start thinking in Elon Musk talking in public and everything gone.
All right, so yeah, I told everybody Bob has some house issues going on today. I guess they're redoing his carpet this weekend or this week, and his office is all tore up, and so he's not able to host the show today. So last second, we decided to do a show on my channel, so at least there's something in that noontime time slot. We're a little bit late, but we're here. This is Sunday Live with Iru Landucci. And you said you wanted to share something? What did you have to share? Let me see if I can get you set up here. I just read.
Well, I know. Yeah, because
where did I see
I
that?
believe I get confused. First of all, let me just clarify this. I get confused because I believe that we're gonna make the Globebuster show, but only you and me.
Right.
And that is why I don't see that we are live.
Gotcha.
But now I'm really checking, and yeah, we're live.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, if you really check now, you'll see that we are on
yeah,
my channel.
yeah,
we're
live. No,
oh, I see what
sent
you're doing.
you.
Okay, I got it now. I see what you're
okay.
sharing. Do you want to do that now?
If you want it, it's just because I am trying to get to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do it, in one way or another. And I just create a simple web page inside my own website to anyone who wants to help me to trying to take the ticket flight. Here in the Spanish community, I receive a few via PayPal. Not GoFundMe, nothing like that, because anytime you do something like that, you need. In my case, I am not able to do that because I need to have I need to leave United States or another country, because here from Argentina I can create nothing like that, and I don't want to lose money because you need to give a percentage and things of that nature.
Right.
So I just decided to create like my webpage, and in terms of inform the people what I'm asking for, and I'm gonna pay the ticket. I just it doesn't matter if I need to maybe buy it in, I don't know which is the word in English, but in pieces. I mean,
Right. Okay,
paying
gotcha. Payments.
monthly.
Right.
I gonna use the my mother credit card, so I gonna buy it anyway. I trying to just a lot of people sometimes send me super chat or help me via Patreon, thing like that.
Right.
So instead of doing that, I asking for, hey, maybe if I can afford, I don't know, the half of the ticket, it's much easier for me to buy to put the money for the rest of the ticket than do it from my own, from complete cost of. And right now, I in fact I have the 25% of the ticket, for example, because a guy, and I don't know if you are showing the web page.
I am. By the way, I'm also calling Bob because Bob is available. He just has his office tore up, so I'm sure he can join from his phone or something. Well, now I don't see what's going on. I'm available on my laptop if you want to add me to the call. Yeah, I tried. Hopefully he's here. Bob, are you here? Nope. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I am showing. Sorry, I'm doing 13 things at once. There's Bob.
Yes, there is Bob.
Hey.
Hey, what's going on, Bob?
I'm homeless.
Oh boy. Well, welcome to the show, Bob.
Thank you.
So, okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm trying to do too many things at once here, just making a mockery of the whole show. So, Iru, what we're doing is we're showing your webpage right now, and if I'm understanding you correctly, you are going to pay for your ticket to Amsterdam no matter what. You'll be there. That's not the issue. The issue is that there's extra amount that you would like people to help if they can, correct?
And just that.
What do you have about? You said you've got about $700 or $800 US. Is that correct, or am I reading that wrong?
Yeah, in fact, I'm seeing the screen right now, and I left to put a zero because the flight ticket is a low cost ticket, and it's $1,000.
Okay.
Because I don't pay for the food, for the dinner, for the not just a handbag, and just a trip. So
right.
I don't want to anything else. But if you scroll down, you're gonna see that at the beginning of the web page is just an explanation what I'm trying to afford. It's in English and in Spanish because tonight I'm going to present this to the Spanish community also. And if you go to the down part of the web page,
do you see on Skype now? Am I sharing my screen? Can you see? Can you see your website now?
Right now, yes.
Okay. So am I at the right spot?
Yeah. So there is two columns. One is for the English people, and one is for the Spanish people. I ask that anyone who wants to help me, via PayPal is the more easy thing, because in any case, if I need to refund the money that someone give to me, I'm just doing very quickly via PayPal. I don't want to keep the money if there is any issue that I don't want. I can't travel, so maybe I need to refund the money that people send me. So
gotcha.
I press a button and it's done. And right now, if you go a little more down, I have just the names of the people that already contribute to reach those $250. So it's like I create a little GoFundMe for myself, because I want to live on on the record who helped me and with how much money. and I present everything very clear. And when I reach the 1,000, I cut off the donations if you want to see in that way, and just simple as that,
Okay.
So thank you anyone who.
All right. So I will for sure have this in the show notes, and I always have all the listing of all the links. But basically, when you go to your website, which is nurparatodos.com/AR, and then you can go /Amsterdam_2019. But again, that link will be in the description. It will bring you here. You just go down here, and then if you want to support via PayPal, you just hit right here, right? And that
Exactly.
would be, okay. And then this way people can help you out. So yeah, if you guys can help Iru get to Amsterdam, that would be awesome. And this is the webpage for that. So sound good, Iru?
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing my stuff, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you anyone outside in the chat for just listen.
Yes, that'd be great if anybody can help Iru out. And if you're not a patron of Iru's and you like Iru's work, it'd be great if you head over to patreon.com/nurparatodos and become a patron.
I really like your pronunciation, man.
Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
good. It's
Not
pretty
bad.
good. I'm gonna use it for my opening in the videos. No, just kidding.
Oh man, I was excited. I thought I'd be a part of all your videos.
No, because I need to pay you. I know that.
Yeah, I'm very expensive, Iru, so I don't know if you'd be able to afford
I know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
he's
we
not
got
a cheap date.
Yeah, not cheap date. I like steak, and I like a side salad with my meal too. So you're gonna have to pay for that as well. So yeah, and we got Bob on the line. So Bob, well, welcome to the show. Let's kind of deal with things one thing at a time. So we were supposed to have Globebusters today, but they're ripping out your carpet, huh? Or installing new carpet.
Yeah, they were supposed to actually have it done last week, but then there was some sort of a major scheduling snafu. They had a carpet laying crew quit, and so they had to reschedule. And so the carpet layers are here now. They're almost done with it. But the house, if you've ever had recarpeting done in a house, it utterly destroys the house because you have to move everything out of every room and move it all over the place, and it's insane.
Yeah, sounds like it. So, okay, well, good you're joining us. We're going to try and keep it a little bit short just because none of us had anything planned. I didn't have really anything planned. Hopefully people saw on Friday, I just did a show, 7 Easy Ways You Can Tell for Yourself that the moon landing really never happened. And I just read through an article basically put out earlier this year telling people 7 easy ways they could tell from themselves that the moon landing actually happened. And I just read each one and thought that they were all hilarious and not proof of anything. And, when you read articles like this, you really think, hey, here's 7 easy ways I can tell for myself that the moon landing actually happened. Of course, you go through each one and you realize that with none of them can you tell for yourself. So I saw you in the chat, Bob, and then I saw Iru towards the end of the show. Thank you guys for joining me for that show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, Eero.
No, I'm gonna say and you, Bob, you pick up my words very correctly because I wanna say that I arrived 20 minutes ago, so I lose like the 6 of the 7 easy ways that you can tell yourself that the moon landing never happened.
Oh yeah, they were pretty funny. All of them were laughable, to say the least. And people can believe what they want, but number one, Iru was moon rocks. That we have moon rocks at home that we can study and see that they had to come from the moon. That's the only possible thing. And so I pointed out, of course, the Dutch moon rock being fake. And once you've got that going on, I think a lot of things come into question. And the fact, Bob, do you think that they could create moon rocks in a lab? Is that out of the question?
I think it's possible, but the question is what is a moon rock, right? What is that supposed to be? It would be apparently something completely alien to, something they have here. So yeah, I'm sure they could probably chemical up something and make some sort of really weird derivation of a rock and call it a moon rock. But that doesn't mean it's a moon rock.
Yeah.
Completely agree. And in fact, they themselves tell us that supposedly the Antarctic is one of the most biggest reservoir of moon rocks.
Right.
So they have everything. They have this kind of cover up, stories to back up their argument. So
of course, and that's one thing I pointed out in the video is that no matter what we throw up there, they're always going to have some sort of return. They have to, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what evidence we have. And to me, I'm still, I mean, call me an idiot, call me a moron. I'm used to it at this point. But, I don't even believe that they can date rocks. So, of course, is there a system that they have that they can tell us that they date rocks? Yeah, but there is no way to prove that. There's just a bunch of guys getting together saying, hey, we have this technique that dates rocks, and this rock is 4.5 billion years old, and this rock is 4.2 billion years old, and this rock is 300 million. But there's no way to check it. And one of the last things that they do when they say they can measure the distance to the moon within millimeter precision with these lasers, that I compare that to, again, if I were to shoot with a laser across the street from my house, and I say, with this laser I can measure the distance of that garage across the street within millimeter precision, well, the next thing that somebody's going to say to me is, oh, well, how did you verify that there's millimeter precision? You have to take a tape measure and actually walk across the street and show that my laser actually gets the same distance as the tape measure. I can't just say I'm shooting this laser across the street, hitting that garage, and I'm getting the distance with millimeter precision if we never go and actually measure the distance of the garage. Does that make any sense what I'm saying there?
Of course. In fact, when you use something like a laser, you need to interpret it via software, and you program the software.
Right.
I mean, you don't have a laser divided in centimeters or millimeters or whatever. You need a computer process or post process that you pre-program first to interpret it. That kind of light bounce and blah blah blah. So you can program based in anything you want.
Right, and that software is created by the men. It's the same thing as radiometric dating and stuff. It's not just, there's not just some test that returns a date. You have to input the parameters of the program, and then the program comes out and tells you, okay, this rock is this date and this rock is this date based on the half-life. And again, it's created by men, and you have to assume that the world has always been the way it is. The atmosphere has never changed, and we know that that simply isn't true. There's changes all the time, and I just don't think we can date rocks. And again, that was one of their proofs, was supposed moon rocks. The other one, Iru, was... Go ahead.
And no, let me just reminder to the people that we have also, the carbon dating, is just inaccurate, or at least you supposedly you have like 5,000 years back in time.
Right.
But we also have the radio halo of polonium. I don't know if you hear about that.
Right.
So when you use that kind of rock dating, you have like you have the an evidence, because the polonium, I don't know if I pronounce well, so sorry anyone out there, but the polonium, it's a material that evaporates very quickly. So we have that in the rocks, and for the scientists, that means that the rocks or the world was created, just in a second. Right. Because otherwise you can have that that kind of material embedded in the rock. So nobody talks about that kind of dating method.
Right.
It's like the carbon dating is like the machine of the Back of the Future. The people
Right.
believe that because you're carbon dating something, you back in time and you check it and.
Yeah, again, and there's no way to determine that. And I've actually looked into it before and saw that, let's say there's a volcanic eruption, and here comes this lava flow, and the lava, hardens out and becomes rock, and I've seen them date that rock, and the rock comes back at multiple millions years old. Well, it's obviously not. That's not. It just came out of the volcano as lava and became a rock. That rock should be, a year old. So, I mean, obviously the dating methods are completely incorrect, and they just keep dating things until they get what they want. And again, this is just a story set up by the scientific community, and no matter what, everything has to conform to the date periods that they've set. So, they're not going to have a rock that comes back, or these strata that come back at anything. A lot of people believe that the Earth is much younger than we're told, but again, they need everything to conform to their universal time scale. So they have things come back, and they come back at 4.5 billion years old. And of course, like Iru said, this is a software situation where they've got to set it up. And again, it's set up by men. And we did get a couple super chats real quick. Earth is seriously flat said only lunatics believe Masonic astronauts walked on the moon. Thank you for that. Dan Morris said, thanks for doing a show in the absence of Globebusters. For the awakened people, there is not a whole bunch of interesting entertainment options out there. Yeah, there's not a lot, so we're glad to be here for you when we can.
And we're almost a Globebuster show.
Yeah, it's close. It's just on a different channel, and glad Bob could join us from his uncarpeted house. So,
Yes, on my patio, even.
Oh, are you on your patio? Nice. Enjoying the nice
I'm out in the backyard on the patio.
Very nice. Can't complain there. Are you in the spa? That's the question.
No, not in the hot tub. Just sitting at the table back here in the patio.
All right. Well, tell everybody hello. Iru, another thing that I thought was interesting, and I'm sure you've seen this quote. Have you seen this quote from Gene Kranz talking about, because I've always said that all these missions that they send people on, same thing with this India thing, with people not going, with them not able to land the craft at the South Pole of the Moon this week. Gene Kranz said in his book, Failure is Not an Option, the quote, in the late 1960s, our simulation technology had progressed to the point where it became virtually impossible to separate the training from actual missions. The simulations became full dress rehearsals for the missions down to the smallest detail. The simulation tested out the crew's and controllers' responses to normal and emergency conditions. It checked out the exact flight plan, mission rules, and procedures that the crew and controllers would use for a later flight. And then later, I think in another interview, he said the simulations were so real that no controller could discern the difference between the training and the real missions. So, this is something I've been saying forever, that when we see, say, Mars landers, right, and we've got the entire JPL crew, and they're all in these control rooms, and they're getting all this data, and they're waiting for these tones, and this tells you right here that if in the late 1960s, the simulation technology was at a point where, as he said, it would be virtually impossible to tell the actual mission for the training mission. And then he says later the simulations were so real that no controller could discern. Well, if you don't think that's changed, it's only gotten better. So now the simulation technology, you can send out satellites or whatever you want, rovers, into a virtual reality kind of situation, if you would think of it that way, into a computer simulation, and nobody at the control stations would have any idea. Your thoughts?
Completely agree, man. In fact, I have made, like 1 year and a half ago, I do a presentation via, talking about satellites. And first of all, you can buy right now via Amazon simulated data link from satellites for training and for the retardation of signals and so on and so forth. But for example, some documentaries from ESA, they tell that the people are training via software, but with the particular thing that they are not, alert that is a training, because they need to know how to react in real scenarios, like military guys do. So I mean, they when the people trying to say, oh, I believe that we live in a simulated universe.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
We live in a simulated universe because, first of all, they simulate our real world via the heliocentric model. And it's only work in your mind. Your mind is the computer. Your mind process, the supposedly calculation and the, supposedly Bible from science and interpret it in real image based on in your brain. So that is like the first simulated reality that they put in your head. And from that starting point, you can, if you create and control computer software, you can do whatever you want, because you're just looking at the screen.
Right. Yeah, and I've been saying that for the longest time, and I know people argue with it, but it's very easy to control what comes into those data stations and what those people see and what they believe, and they could be all operating off of simulated data. It would have no choice. We did get an interesting text from David Weiss, who said, maybe you should bring Puppy and force the plane to make an emergency landing, proving the FE if the dog has a seizure. Thanks, David. David is all about these seizures on planes. You notice that?
David has really simple ideas to make. It's so easy. You just take an emergency landing. It's very easy. You can
Also-
simulate like a heart attack, and it will be more easy than bring puppy to the plane. And
Right. Also, David just told me that we were going to have him last week, but we're going to have him this week, is Marty Leeds, 33, will be joining us for Jeranism Monday Night Raw tomorrow. So check that out. That is always on the Jeranism Raw YouTube channel. We do the first hour there. Usually somebody like Karen B or somebody picks up the second hour, or you can join us live at tfrlive.com and just click the listen live button, and that's all free. So check that out. That's on TFR Truth Frequency Radio on Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific. So we'll have Marty Leeds joining us tomorrow. And, of course, the second hour we usually take phone calls. So if you have anything you want to talk to Marty Leeds about, join us tomorrow. So thank you, David, for setting that up. That's awesome. We just got a super chat from Hendrik Alerts, one of the very best supporters of Jeranism, of Iru. He sent you some money many times before. I've kind of passed that on. He's also the one who has already donated the $100 toward your trip, correct? Yeah, I think I saw that. That was Hendrik Alerts, who was on that little web page of yours. I don't know if you noticed that that's
exactly,
him. Yeah,
exactly.
That's awesome. Thank you, Hendrik.
Yeah, thank you, Hendrik.
Yeah, thank you so much. In fact, he sent me $50, just alone without knowing about my flight ticket, and then he sent me another 50. So I put together and I put it because I when I decide to get the flight, whatever and whatever happens, anything that I receive in terms of Patreon or Super Chat or whatever, I ask for the people, for the person, hey, don't mind if I add you like a supporter for the trip. So I take all that donations and I put it like part of my flight tickets.
Awesome. So thank you, Hendrik, and thank you so much for the super chat. He's always been a great supporter, so we appreciate that a ton. The other
Hey, Jaron.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to make a comment about that Gene Kranz article and stuff.
Sure.
The difference between back then and now is at least back then they tried to have some sort of video, even though it was fake video. But now all they do is just put CGI up on animations, and they're not even claiming that it is any real video or anything like that. It's just animated. So they actually tried harder, at least on their fakery in the 60s, during the simulated data coming in than they do now by a long shot.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing now, and it's as if they expect people to believe that we can't put cameras on these crafts, which is it's an insult to people's intelligence, in my mind. But again, we always get the Globe believers who will say, well, they don't need to put cameras on it for your appeasement. That's their line of reasoning that they've got more important things to do. Even though we have the mission that just happened in India, and I'll bring that up a little bit. We can talk about that. Well, I'll bring that up in a little bit. Just wanted to finish with Eero talking about the other 7 ways that we know that the
was one of those a moon bounce?
Yeah, it was the retro reflectors still being there, and that we're able to bounce these lasers off the moon. You mean that?
Yeah, because I had a comment about that too, and I actually made the comment when you were doing the show the other night. But, first of all, they tell us that the laser has to go out, and it goes this 250,000 mile distance all the way out there, and then it bounces either off the reflector or off the surface, because remember, they did these laser bounces long before they had the reflectors up there, right? But so then it has to come back, and in the meantime, the Earth has rotated so many degrees, supposedly, right? And there's going to be this return signal that's going to be several miles away from where it was originated at. But the other thing that they don't ever talk about, when they're talking about how they're able to precisely measure these, the moon distance down to, a fraction of an inch, is how are they accounting for the refraction both going out of our atmosphere and coming back into our atmosphere? Because as anybody knows, there's no possible way the light could come straight in, right?
Right.
As soon as it hits the atmosphere, it would have to refract one direction or another, which of course would cause another change in timing, which would change everything. So, it's just so imaginary. And then they say, well, all we have to do is catch a single photon. Well, then how does that yield any results as far as determining the distance to the moon within a fraction of an inch?
Right.
People just completely, they give up their critical thinking and stuff like this. It's insane.
Yeah, I put up a graphic now where the moon is some 15 billion inches from Earth, and they can detect that it's moving 1.5 inches per year. they're detecting a 0.00000000099% change. And like Bob said, when you're only getting that one photon back, and let me bring up that graphic real quick, you got 1 quintillion photons sent from this laser, supposedly hitting these retroreflectors, even though in 1962 they were able to do it when there was no retroreflectors there. And they get 1 back. So imagine that 1 coming back, like Bob said, has to hit the atmosphere and be refracted in different directions. You would never be able to figure out. And then also you have the ground supposedly moving. I'm not against the idea that the ground would move 1.5 inches.
And you need to start to show us a photon, first of all.
Right, start there, right?
So, yeah. So what is coming? A tiny particle and hit, the instrument. I mean, they need to settle down the debate between the light being a wave or being particles and things like that before, right. Trying to make up this belief.
And then again, you have a computer program that's created by humans where these people are sitting there with their laptop and they're showing that they get the 1 photon back. And again, all that stuff is nothing more than something built by men to show what they want to show. So to me, very simple. So good point, Bob, on that one. The other one, Iru, and I don't know, you have to go back and watch the video because it's hilarious, is that according to this article, it says that if you have a very good telescope and a full moon, that you yourself can see the remnants of the missions on the moon. Crickets.
LOL.
Crickets.
Yeah. and first of all,
that's what the article says.
You need to define. You need to define what is it a good telescope, because sometimes when you talk with people that start to initiate it in the debate or the flat earth, they say if you take a super telescope, there is nothing out there calling super telescope.
Right.
There are all lenses and they all have problems because they are based on lenses. So there is no a super telescope or a very good telescope. They all reach a certain amount of kilometers, and there is less than 50 kilometers. So there is a telescope just amplifies
right.
what is there. The telescope is not reach the target. I mean.
Right.
So
Yeah,
they use this kind of word. Super telescope, really good telescope.
Yeah, and I pointed out that the largest telescope is 20 times, the largest telescope on Earth is 20 times too small to see any remnants of anything on the moon from these supposed missions. And even the Hubble telescope is 200 times too small. Yet in that article, it flat out told you all you need is a good telescope and a clear full moon, and you can see for yourself. So that's the funny part about the article. That's the reason I brought it up, is just if you're going to tell people 7 easy ways they can see for themselves, at least make one of them true. I mean, if these are supposed to be easy ways you can tell for yourself, don't just lie to people, because what happens is you've got a brainwashed world that reads an article like this and just assumes it all to be true. And then you get people in your thing saying, oh, with just a large telescope you can see, because that's what you'll get in your comments. You'll get people who will repeat that because they read this article in Popular Science, and people believe it. Even though it's not true, you can't see anything from the moon with any telescope on Earth, or even a telescope out in space like the Hubble that they say exists. You can't even see it with that. And of course, these are just stories that they tell people, and it keeps it going. So that's the other one that I thought was funny. The other ones was that there's lunar rovers that have seen what the astronauts have. So they basically take an image from supposedly these moon landings, a little image with the rover sitting next to it, and you can see the hills in the background. And then they'll show you an image from a supposed Japanese lander that's there, showing the same backdrop, showing the same hills, and saying, well, that proves that we've been to the moon, because this picture shows the same backdrop. But again, how come these lunar rovers can never just turn to the side and show us the actual lunar rover itself? Why don't they drive one of these Japanese crafts over and show us the actual LEM landing on the moon? None of that's available. Have you ever seen that?
No, and I also say that in my radio interviews and things like that. I mean, if they are really enemies in real life, like the Chinese with the Russians and with the United States, and why they don't check for example, the moon landing? Why China sent a rover to the dark side of the moon to see if the worms can produce silk? I don't know which is the name in English.
Yes.
I mean, there is ridiculous thing. It was so easy to check if there is some kind of craft left by the Apollo mission, for example. So there is no real enemies. We know all that. If you just see the symbol in the back part of the $1 bill, you just start to things in terms of reality another way.
Right. Yeah. So the rest of the you'll have to check out the video yourselves. That's the most recent video on my channel, I believe, other than this one, obviously. But there's a few more that they say that the regolith, which is the the soil basically, or the dirt that's there, is reflective, and that's their answer for why certain things are lit up more than they should be. We've all seen the images of Buzz Aldrin coming down the ladder, and he's too bright. And of course, they're going to have an answer for this. And really, where I brought you up a lot, Iru, is one of the things that they mentioned in there is that NVIDIA did. Have you ever seen NVIDIA?
Yeah.
All right. What's your thoughts on that? Because I tried to point out to people that you're able to bring up some atmospheric effects on your video renderer, right? And you can play around with all of the different sliders. And so the fact that they can make it match the image isn't proof of anything. It's just proof that NVIDIA can change sliders and make anything possible, correct?
Well, first of all, if you take a look to the logo of NVIDIA, you realize that has the eye, that one eye, the same eye that everyone knows, So first, for me, because you need to get into the reality of the, elite world. The world controlling by the elite, and they use their symbols to communicate and to say, who is behind that kind of companies. So first of all, I can't leave that out, because I see that single eye, and in fact, the really name NVIDIA, it's I don't know which is the word in English, but it's like one of the 7 capital sins, the NVIDIA in Spanish. So it's like telling you that we produce that kind of feeling to the people because we have the most technological equipment in the world to create computer graphics. So they can use whatever they can do whatever they want, because when they trying to explain that retro illumination of the astronaut, they use the algorithm of global illumination. So you can do whatever you want. First of all, you don't have the material from the moon to really prove that material refracts the light in that way, first of all, because you don't have that kind of material here, so you don't have the coefficient of the refraction of the light via that material. So they just use a global illumination algorithm that there is out there in any render engine available in 3D software, and you like you said, you just increase the slider and you make more refractive, and done.
Right, it's that easy, and that's what I pointed out in that video. I was trying to bring it up here again, but I think here we go. Just to show people an image of what we're talking about, that just because you can match, and this is the problem where they always work backwards to me, and it's just so apparent now that to call that proof when you're just basically working backwards, you're taking a photo that people are saying, hey, this photo couldn't have possibly come from the moon. There's too much light source. The light should be blocked by, and let me bring this up for people to see what I'm doing here. So, we're basically talking about this image here. The NVIDIA takes on Apollo 11 moon landing deniers with technology, and they're showing here this image. Well, what they did is they created a simulated environment here with their rendering card, their render engine, or whatever you want to call it, their video card. And they're able to brighten up the ground enough that it lights up this astronaut. But that's not proof of anything. That's just proof that they can change the sliders and make their graphics card show the same thing that an image did that NASA created, whether it's in a... So think about the fact that if this is done in a studio, and, so let's say this is in a studio on a, I don't know, somewhere in Hollywood, wherever you want to say, and then NVIDIA comes along and places in their render engine the same things, and then they can turn up or turn down anything they want until it matches the photo. What is that proof of? It doesn't prove that this photo was taken on the moon. The irony of using CGI computer enhancement to try and prove a fake event. Right. It's just I don't get it. It makes my brain hurt that people would consider this evidence of that. So, that was the other one that they said. And then, of course, one of the, I think I brought up the actual article here. The other one was that stars are still around, which, this is a big contention for me as far as astronauts not being able to say ever whether or not. And just real quick, Iro, you can see my screen, I think, but this was one of the funnier things I've seen.
Yes.
This is the image that they say was taken on the moon. Get out of here with this ad. They say this was taken on the moon, so you can see the rover here, and you can see this background. And then they say, oh, well, this Japanese JAXA orbiter, or actually I think they say it's a rover, right? That's what it says. The name of this reason is Lunar Rovers. So supposedly this lunar rover is on the moon, and it took the same backdrop. So you can see kind of these three humps, then this little hump. If you pull it back over here, you see the three humps, the little hump. You can see this piece coming in front. So supposedly, because this rover sees this image, then it means that these people were actually on the moon. It's just such nonsense. Where is this rover's image of this rover? Where's this rover's image of anything? Think about it. For it to take this image, it must have been close enough to just turn to the left, turn to the right, turn behind it, and see all the remnants of everything. Where are these footprints? Well, they're gone. I mean, this is just such a shitty image, of course.
But that image, that image in particular that you are showing, that is computer generated image, and
Absolutely.
Nobody can deny that, because you have a so kind of low resolution in the noise pattern, and they trying to, because when they fake everything, they use the front projection mapping.
Right.
So because they use that technique, they have the real foreground really contrasty, really brightness and contrast really well, but the backdrop is self-illuminated because it's based on the projection from the light. So they have that difference between you can clearly see that the background is self-illuminated. It's like the moon is illuminated from inside, but you have the foreground, and you see the foreground like in a real life photograph, with contrast, with
Right.
with that dark shadow, things like that. But in the background, because it's a front projection, you don't have that. So I believe they trying to I don't know which is the word in English, sorry, but they trying to keep the same story, from
Right.
anyone out there. They don't want to say, point the finger and say you fake the moon landings.
Right. No, it's not good for anybody to say that. It's not good for any of these organizations that
Exactly.
are making money from their space things. And again, it's just like this craft that supposedly got lost from India this week. When you do that, you just get more money for your program. It's not like, well, we crashed, so okay, now we don't get any more funding. No, it's additional funding comes in. And, you've got the head of the India Space Organization coming out and saying, oh, well, you've actually done a good job. This is a success. In space is the only place where you can continue to crash things and continue to call them successes. They just get away with that, and they say, oh, well, this is actually a success. We're going to learn a lot from it. And actually, if you go to this article here, you'll see India just found its lost Vikram lander on the moon. Still no signal. Of course, they show images like this. People probably think this is real, but if you read closely the caption here, the Indian Space Research Organization's Chandrayaan-2 moon orbiter is shown studying the lunar surface from above in this still image from a video animation. I just love that they say things like that.
Yeah, and in fact, I always wonder why, if when they go to the moon in the '69, they transmit live in the middle of the journey,
Right.
repairing something out there of the spacecraft. So why they cannot show us a live video, with the complete flight from the beginning to the end, when the supposedly crash in the moon? And I mean, you can have supposedly, I believe, live video, live feed in 2019.
Yeah, I think
if
it'd be
you
so
did
easy.
it, is in the '69.
It should be, yeah, if you didn't, and think of how much further cameras have come along, satellite technology, you'd think you'd be able to do this easily, and there's just no video on this craft. And in this article that we're looking at here from space.com, again, all these links will be in the description following the show. I saw this part here, which I highlighted. It says, the orbiter camera is the highest resolution camera, 0.3 megapixels, in any lunar mission so far. Why are we putting cameras with 0.3 megapixels? Who is this stupid? I don't understand.
Wow.
Yeah, can you believe it, Bob?
That's insane.
Right.
That is so. I mean, what we had 0.3 megapixel cameras, 20 years ago?
Right.
That's pathetic.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, think about how much a GoPro with 4K video quality is, how easy that is, how possible that is in today's age, and how much it costs. It literally costs $500, $300. I mean, it's probably less than that. You could find one used. But I understand if this was a mission of this type, you would want to put on a very good camera. You'd want to go 4K, and I can't imagine that costing more than $50,000, $100,000. I mean, you could. It's ridiculous. It'd be so cheap for these companies, and they just refuse to do it. So it says the orbiter camera is the highest resolution camera, 0.3 megapixels, in any lunar mission so far, and shall provide high-resolution images, which will be immensely useful to the global scientific community. These officials said in September 7th statement. The precise launch and mission management has endured a long life of almost 7 years instead of the planned 1 year. This is always the case. You know, you ask Congress for money. We're going to do this for 1 year. At the end of the 1 year, you just say, oh, it's still working. Our cameras, can we get another year of funding? Sure. Can we get another year? And you just keep funding the same things.
Where did they get off calling a 0.3 megapixel image high resolution?
I know. That's another. That's even funnier.
and that is a contradiction itself, right?
Right. And I think it says over here something that, that you had a high-resolution photo, and it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, I wanted to point that out, too. And, again, that will be in the show notes. And the last thing from the Popular Science article, Iru, and I don't know if you've seen this, but it says, we talked about the retroreflectors being there, but the flag wasn't moving. Again, this guy says that the reason that remember, the title of this article is 7 Easy Ways You Can Tell for Yourself that the moon landing really happened. Of course, we told you about a lie, that they lied about you being able to see it with a telescope. And just so people don't think I'm lying about that, let me read you exactly what it says here. You can see the landing sites for yourself. And we pulled down a little bit. Remember, this is in Popular Science. Come on now. What's going on here? There we go. If you look right here, it says flat out, if you have a pretty powerful telescope and a clear view of the full moon, you may have an opportunity to see the evidence of these missions yourself. It's a complete and total lie. Anyway, down here, Iru, the other one, we talked about this one. We talked about the regolith. This one here saying the flag wasn't moving. This is hilarious. They're passing it off in this point by telling people that the flag that we saw moving always happened when an astronaut was touching it. And anybody who's seen any images know that that's not true. And one of the things that I've brought up, let me see if I can find it here. But what do you think about the flag issue, Hero?
Well, first of all, let me just say thank again for Henrik Ollert. He's a crazy man. He sent me $100, and Jorge Eduardo Aguilar Juarez, which I believe he's a Mexican guy but lives in Spain, because he sent me €100. So thank you so much for the support. And can I share my screen?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead,
first of all, just for recap,
are you there?
the front projection mapping, they use this technique, and you are seeing my screen run
Hold
now?
on 1 second. I was just trying to find something.
Okay.
Here. Let me pause that, and we'll bring up your screen. Yeah, I see it. Go ahead.
Okay, this is from a university from Russia. I showed this many times before, but they use this kind of technique. So when you go to you compare with the real photos from the NASA archives, you can really see this kind of. Just let me skip a little forward. You can see this kind of contrast between the real life, dirt or terrain with the front projection. So when you start looking at these kind of things, you very quickly realize that this is the issue that they have. They have this kind of self-illuminated mountain in the background, which is not compatible with the light conditions from the foreground. And you can see, in so many pictures from the NASA archive. So you can really have a red alert in self there. And when you're talking about the flag, I heard that kind of nonsense that no, because it's the astronaut that is touching, or because when they set up all the flag, maybe they have a lot of vibration that can, live forever, things like that. But for me, something that you need to keep in mind is from the Apollo 14. And when the Apollo 14 is, for example, take off, you can see that immediately when supposedly the spacecraft, lift off, you can see the flag moving in the column of air or some kind of medium, because here you can see in slow motion, and just that is one frame only, and you don't have any kind of debris hitting the flag. No, it's just the air there. It's moving immediately, before even the spacecraft, get high 1 centimeter. So that is, for me, it's not possible in the supposedly vacuum of space.
That thing's reacting like it's in a full-blown atmosphere.
So completely, Bob.
That's
crazy. You have some kind of medium here between the spacecraft and the flag.
Yeah.
Because nothing is hit the flag there. And this is official videos. So that kind of, and this is the setup because they put the flag really near to the lander. So that is why you have the flag technically in front of the spacecraft. So the flag is moving immediately, without any doubt that you need some kind of medium to transfer the explosion or whatever you want to call from the spacecraft to the flag. And here on Earth is very easy to explain that. And I believe this is on Earth. So,
did you see, thank you, by the way, Jason Schmidt, for the super chat, and Earth is Seriously Flat said, ask the Globe Zombie Animal Mind how to verify distance 2 Polaris light years away. Yeah, it's impossible. Wish them a wonderful day on our beautiful stationary flat Earth. Iru, have you ever seen the work that Jeff Winters did, or Windsor, I think his name is, where he showed the Apollo 14 flag on the outside of the craft blowing in the wind when the astronauts are inside the craft? Have you seen that before?
Yeah, this one. It's this analysis that he pointed out. No, this is the golf. They play golf, man. Golf. That is the most. What more else you need to understand that this is a fakery?
Well, it's even stupider than that. If there's ever anything that I just hear these stupid stories. The story is that he snuck that golf club onto the craft. That NASA knew nothing about it, that he snuck the golf. Can you imagine how detailed you need to be with the weight? That they had no idea he was taking that golf club to the moon. He got there and said, "Ha ha! I brought this golf club," and you guys had no idea.
Yeah, man. No, and in fact, here in Latin America, there is a history about the Apollo 15 astronaut that supposedly they bring like a postcard to be, certificated on the moon. And when they come to the Earth, they trying to sell any one of those postcards in $1,000 because it was certificate on the moon. And there is like a dealer from Germany, and NASA pick up that kind of movement in the black market, and they fire the astronaut. I don't know if you understand my history, what I'm trying to tell it, but it's insane. When you get inside of a craft, you have 3-4 stages of supervision. So where you put the postcard?
Right.
300 postcard, supposedly.
And I'll also include the link for the video that Iru's showing right now, and that's on the YouTube channel Moon Fakery. And this animation, or this video, was posted May 29, 2017. Not an animation. It's supposedly a video from the moon. And again, at this time where you see the flag actually blowing in the wind, coming into frame, going out of frame, I think he counts a total of 8 times, the astronauts are in the ship. And again, their reason for it is because they say that during depressurization that the gases were exiting the craft and causing the flag to move. But impossible. And again, and he points that out, and you guys got to check out the video to see, truly how impossible it is. He compares the amount of torque going on and how much change it would be. And again, if you simply read the article that was the one I was reading before, the Popular Science, it says that perhaps one of the most talked about pieces of evidence to suggest the moon landing was faked has to do with the alleged movement of the flag. But he says here, in truth, the flag is not flapping. It's disturbed as it's being planted. And those disturbances are causing ripples to move through the cloth. There's no denying that. It's not fluttering in the wind. And the flag is still up there, and it looks like it's in a gust of wind thanks to wires placed inside to keep the cloth upright, and it's been still for decades now. It's just ridiculous. So, again.
No, okay, you want to believe that, go ahead, and nobody's going to blame you. But when I showed the Apollo 14 flag before the lander takeoff, that flag was still, completely still. And you have in only one frame, you have been blow the flag. So there is no any kind of exhaust gases, nothing like that.
Right.
Just simulate it and trying to do.
And again, with no atmosphere, it should, even if the gas was leaving the craft, it should immediately disperse in every possible direction into the vacuum of space.
Exactly.
So, pretty insane that, and again, this flag is turning back and forth, but they're telling people, no, when the flag moves, it's because somebody's holding it or planting it into the ground, which is not the case. There's tons of different things. We could bring up different missions where it's the same thing. Maybe astronauts are nowhere near it and it's still waving around. But again, they'll just tell people, oh, it's actually made of tinfoil and we did that so it would stay. They always will have an answer no matter what. And that's
no matter.
One of the hardest things for us, but at the same time, you just have to point it out to people, and hopefully they understand that. You can't say something and have them come back and say, oh, you're right, the flag shouldn't be moving and it's moving. You caught us. That will never be the answer. So you have to come to that conclusion on your own, because if you go to the mainstream, they will always back up the Apollo story. Always.
Yep.
Always, yeah.
Just lots of hot air.
For me, one of the most funny things is, for example, this, which is, why the astronaut can't get on his knees and stay on his knees. Why, I mean, if you are educated people, you cannot believe that. What is the problem for getting down and stay down and pick up the tool and
right.
keep working? Why joke. He needs to do all these kind of, circus style? I mean, look how he starts jumping to gain altitude and trying to, and even jumping like that, he cannot take the tool. He cannot pick up the tool. And then you maybe see another missions where they stay on the ground and perform some experiments. So you have all these incompatibilities that if you are an educated people, you immediately realize that these guys are trying to trick you. And if you don't have any kind of education, you immediately realize that these guys are lying, because you don't need to fight with yourself.
Right. Oh man, yeah, it's funny. And even that hammer throw looks to be at real speed.
He hits the foot.
Yeah, he hits
when he drop. He's an asshole, He could, make a hole in the boot and die immediately.
Yeah, now just throwing hammers around, and
it's like shooting your foot,
Yeah, oh, it's crazy,
man.
So yeah, that was basically all the 7 reasons you can tell for yourself that the moon landings actually happened. Again, all these links will be in the description following the show, so if you want to check them out for yourself. Anything else you want to share here? Go ahead.
Yeah, look at that, man. I mean, look my cousin is a professional dancer, classic ballet dancer, and he could perform this. Look at the style of the astronaut, man. I mean, how he, pull the legs up. It's classic ballet at the top. I mean, what is doing?
Yeah, it's definitely wires, and I don't know if it's part to the ceiling or if it's on a helium balloon, as I've said before. It could be. Who knows? It's certainly not.
But the amazing thing with NASA is that everything that they perform in the moon, it's compatible with the training with cables.
Right.
You know, they make the same kind of thing. They have the same kind of going to the ground. I don't know which is the name in English, but how is possible that being holding by cables, you fall down to the ground equally that going being the moon before you are in the moon? So
right. And bounce right
physically, it's impossible. And the way that he stand up and all these kind of things, there are no doubt.
Yeah, I can't disagree, and I don't know how anybody does, except for if you're just turning a blind eye to it all and just saying no. I understand those people's position; they just believe in it so much that they're going to reject any evidence the other way. So
exactly, this is the official picture that where you can see. Look at that. This is official picture, and you can see how washed out is this black area.
Right.
This is the cannot have this kind of situation so quickly because we don't have any kind of gradient fade into the atmospheric layers for being washed out. That this is just a straight line. Here is contrasty and here not. Right. I mean, the nature doesn't react like that,
Yeah, and again,
then
when you've got the shadow side, like here, just pause it right there for 1 second. When you've got the shadow, the wheels here closest to us, you can see the dark side. Well, that's the problem that we're saying, that when that's in dark shadow, why isn't that lit up like Buzz Aldrin is lit up if the regolith, if the moon area around it is supposedly reflective enough to light up the astronaut? Why isn't it reflective enough to light up these wheels? It's the same kind of thing. It's just nonsense. And again, you're just going to have to believe whatever they tell you if you want to believe that they went to the moon. But yeah, totally washed out. You can totally tell the difference in the scene there.
Yeah, and
I'm
here you
going
can
to
see
say that the reason you don't see that is because their excuse is bullshit.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up, Pop.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, Uru.
No, it's okay, man. You are like a commentary guy today in the Jenan show.
That's good.
So
good.
It's good. But I mean, there is the classic same place where they, sometimes they show rocks and other times they just put the lander, because they go 6 times. I don't know. I cannot understand why there was so so bad production or so imbeciles to have so many errors. I mean, maybe one mission was enough and don't do it again. And
yeah, I don't know why they went so many times, other than I think if you read Wagging the Moondog, you hear a lot about what was going on in the world at that time, and they were trying to distract people from some of the wars going on. Some of the atrocities going on in Vietnam, and a lot of what Nixon was trying to do to keep people's minds in another direction. And again, isn't it funny that it was Nixon who was president for all 6 moon landings? And if you trust Nixon, well, you got another thing coming for you.
No, and in fact, anytime, when I go to interviews and trying to put the tag of conspiracy guy, I always say, man, have you heard, about John F. Kennedy and his speech about the monolithic conspiracy that ruled the world and involved military, scientifically, politically? That is the first conspiracy guy. It's not me.
Right.
He was a president and he was shot for give that kind of speech. So they love to say, to show that a speech from Kennedy saying we choose to go to the moon, but they forget that the same guy warning us about the monolithic conspiracy.
Right. Jeez. Let's see here. What else you got to share, Iru?
No, I was simulated this pea-brain effect. That I was doing right now very quickly. But I don't want to deviate the topics. Maybe I can get here later. I don't know.
No, you can go ahead now if you want. I don't. I have a few other things to show just from Space News, and they supposedly sent a Raspberry Pi up to space and took a picture of the Earth. I want to just laugh at that, but we can do that after you go ahead and show whatever you want to show. I'm done.
Okay, no, just that because I see from Seven Through Thicker and P-Brain and also I believe Globebusterish.
I shared it.
Exactly.
That was
exactly.
classic.
That was classic, exactly. But this kind of behavior that is really clever, because when I try to analyze this, I never even think that this mountain it's more highest than we see right now. It's up in the clouds. So that is why this is cut in this straight line.
Right.
And I never even think in that. Sometimes you just
miss those
don't
things.
see the whole picture. Yeah, exactly. But when all this discussion about if there is a light up more high than the plane and the shadow angle and blah blah blah, of course I totally agree with P-Brain, but I simulated really quickly here. I put a bunch of piles along kilometers away, and I put the ground, and I put the light source above the ground. This is here's the ground, and I can show you that the light source is a few 100 meters above the ground, and I use atmospheric simulation to produce God rays. And of course, when you simulate that, you're gonna have or based on perspective, you're gonna have that kind of shadow that is shown in the real world scenario. And if I make this a little more big, you're gonna see more clearly that we have a conic projection of the shadow. It doesn't matter if the light is on the ground or beneath the ground or on top of the ground. You have that based on perspective. So I just show this because these guys love computer simulations like NVIDIA. So
right.
Here you have it. I mean, if the light is above the ground and you have a camera and you need to take perspective into consideration, you can clearly see how the God rays deviate, or the shadow in the atmosphere deviates and form that kind of conic shape.
Yeah. So there you have it, Bob, the science guy, right? We have Cinema 4D, which actually emulates real physics in the real world, and Iru is able to replicate this exact same effect. What a surprise.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
But, well, this is really rude and quickly and dirty project, so maybe then I'm going to make it a little more realistic. So I stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Let me see. Here, I'll just bring up this. We just got a couple more things, and then we will let everybody get to their Sunday.
Hey, Jeremy,
yeah.
Before you do that, did you guys by any chance happen to check out the University of Alaska's engineering department? They did a 4-year study on 9/11. Did you see that?
I saw a couple people send it to me on Skype, but I have not checked it out yet. Tell us about it.
Oh, my God. They absolutely... Seventh-Day Truth Seeker has like about a 1.5-minute summary on it. But essentially what they did is they ran a 4-year study on the collapse of the towers, and they released this to the whole world, and basically they concluded that there is no way that those buildings could have come down unless they had simultaneous failures of all the columns at exactly the same time. Now, they didn't say planting charges on them. They just said that this is what it takes. And then they ran a simulation on what it would look like if all the columns failed simultaneously. And then they ran it side by side by WTC 7 coming down.
Right.
And of course, it was a dead match. It was just absolutely unbelievable. And I looked at that, and I'm just wondering, how long is the University of Alaska's Fairbanks Science Department going to be around after that one, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to check that out. So check out Seventh-Day Truth Seeker if you want to see a short video on that. And then if I can find the link, I'll include that in the show notes as well, so people can check that out.
I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. All right, and I'll be able to add that to the links as well, so check that out. As far as this Raspberry Pi thing in space news, these things make me laugh. This is from techradar.com, and it says Raspberry Pi strapped to a satellite takes stunning picture of the Earth. It says a satellite company in the UK, SSTL, has sent a $60 US, $90 Australian Raspberry Pi Zero mini PC into space, where it has taken a stunning image of the planet Earth. So let's go down and see this image. This is the image here that supposedly is taken. And one of the things that you can read that's pretty hilarious is one of the things that it did to change. Did I miss that part? Yeah, right here. We'll read this. SSTL attached the Raspberry Pi Zero to its demonstration of technology satellite, and the only modification that the company made to the single-board educational computer was that it swapped out the standard lens of the connected camera for a fisheye one. So at least they admit that this image is completely and totally fisheyed, which it completely and totally is. If you're wondering which part of the world this supposedly is, let me bring up Google Earth. Oh, and I'm not sharing it for you guys, am I? Sorry about that. Share screen.
No, I was watching it on the live feed, but that's cool.
Okay, so hopefully
you are like Bob,
you see it now. It's kind of hard to remember after you guys share, but so hopefully you can see it now.
No yet. Now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it
on Skype, right?
Yep, on Skype.
Yeah.
So this is the image supposedly, and again, it says fisheye. But I was looking at this and said, where is this supposedly at? And then I kind of recognized this is out in the middle of the Mediterranean. So if I bring up Google Earth, I will show you. This is the location that we're looking at. And you can tell this is Corsica here. You can see Italy here to the right, and so if we flip back to the browser, you can see that this is the image that we're looking at. That's Corsica. This is Italy here, and you can totally tell that it's been rounded. And then when you see what a small, oops, hold on one second. I tried to click Google Earth and it didn't come up. So there we go. Transition. And if you try and see, here we go. Just what a small section. Remember, it shows the edges of the Earth here and here. But yeah, if you zoom back from this, here we go. All right, you see what a small, you're talking about a little circle like here. So again, it's just basically a high altitude picture of this area here on a very fisheye camera, which gives you the edge, but they try and pass this off as if it's, a stunning picture of the Earth. Well, if you're going to have a bunch of people come to you and tell you this is the globe Earth. And just so people can see how easy it is to create the rounded edges with a GoPro lens. And again, I brought up before, and we can go to this video here that I did a while back. Let's see here if I can bring this up. Let's go to YouTube here. So I did a video a while back called Students Find the Curvature of Earth in a GoPro Fisheye Lens. And some people may remember, let me turn down the volume here, that supposedly this image, and again, there was tons of articles about it, student film stunning images of the Earth's curvature using a weather balloon. I went back and showed you all of the Google results that all say students film curvature of Earth, students film breathtaking curvature, weather balloon launch, a group shows the curvature, university shows the curvature of Earth, where all that it is a fisheye lens. And again, easy way to tell here is, number one, you've got that rope, which shows you. I compared it to what we see from the ISS. But again, once you watch this launching of the balloon, you can clearly see that the Earth is curved in every case. And this is from just 1,000 feet. So, of course, you can pause any of these spots and say, here's the curvature of Earth. And this is exactly what they do constantly. And they did it again with this supposed Raspberry Pi image from space. And again, I don't know how many times you've got to explain to people what's going on here, that this is a very curved lens, and you can just kind of watch it as it bounces up and down and curves and uncurves the Earth. But people will all assume that this is the curvature of Earth. So you go up there and say, see, this, they prove the curvature of Earth. Look, it's a ball. But it's simply not. And
well, you know what I think the bigger conspiracy here is, Jaron, is how do they get University of Leicester out of something that is clearly spelled University of Leicester?
Yeah, I know. It's a huge conspiracy.
It's got to be a British thing, I guess.
I guess so.
just looked at that and it's like, that's Leicester, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
And I kept saying Leicester, and then people corrected me. I was like, no, I'm just going to call it Leicester, just because if you understand the pun there, then. But anyway, that's a video I did in the past where I tried to show people that this is what they will do. And again, I went in here and showed people that the rope is obviously curved, and this is not showing the curvature of Earth, yet people will hear that and believe it and think that it's true, and it simply is ridiculous. So again, they have this whole Raspberry Pi. This isn't the first time that a Raspberry Pi has been sent into space, but again, you'll have people who will take this image because it's curved, and if you look at this looks like all the images of supposed spacewalks. You'll just add here a crazy contraption. Am I showing this correctly? Yeah. Browser, yes. Add here a crazy contraption, a piece of metal, and then you can see this behind it, and people will assume that is the curvature of Earth. So it's just so easy to see, and at least they tell you that it's a fisheye lens. And I believe, is this from their website? Yeah, here we go. This is a little bit more clear image. So people see this and they assume that this is the globe Earth. And again, I showed you on Google Earth how small of a section this is, with just being Italy. How big would Italy be if this were an actual picture of a globe Earth? It's not. It's simply a picture from high above that is put on a fisheye lens, and this is what you get out of it. And they keep passing this off to people, and people believe this means that the Earth is a ball.
Yep, it's right up there with Planet New Mexico on the what you call it, jump.
Felix.
Yeah, Felix Baumgartner jump, right?
Yeah. No, in fact, how many people take the time to read the article and see that there is a GoPro?
Nobody. They just see
lens,
You just see that.
They do this for brainwashing.
Absolutely. You just see this image and it looks like, oh, well, we live on a ball. How could you deny it? It's right here. We have pictures from space. But people don't recognize, what exactly is going on. I think I mentioned Jason Schmidt, maybe not, for the $2 super chat. Thank you very much. And then Douglas Falk said, hey, Jaron, did you receive the book in the mail this week? Looking forward to meeting you in Amsterdam. I don't know which book you're talking about, but I have not been to the mail this week. So I'll check it out and let you know. But I have received other things from you. So thank you very much.
We have not received our books yet to Zach and us. But he apparently wrote a book and he talked about it on Iron Realm Media.
Oh, okay.
And he sent it to a bunch of us, and so you should have one, if not right now, then very shortly.
And that's the book that takes place in a flat world. Is that what the name of that book, or am I getting him confused with somebody else?
I don't remember what the name of the book was, but okay. I'm sure somebody in chat does.
All right, well, definitely check it out. Thank you for the super chat. So that's what I wanted to point out about the Raspberry Pis. The other thing I saw in space news this week that was
sorry, Jeremy, but remember we live in the age of video cameras, and they still show us still pictures.
Right. Yeah. No. And then actually, if you go to this website, though, I saw this is on the SSTL website. Down here it says you can find a video of Europe acquired by the Raspberry Pi camera. It can be viewed on YouTube. But the problem with this is did I see a date? This is supposedly the image that was taken the other day, August 19th, that we just showed you, that clearly is not a ball Earth. This is just a view from above and then circled. This looks like Google Earth. This shows you, it says image of Corsica and Sardinia acquired by the first satellite in 1981. Look at this.
Good. It's like
it's the same.
TRAPPIST-1 system.
Yeah, look at see, it's the same.
Mosaic.
All these dots
Pixel.
here are boats, I think, because this is the ground. So I don't know. These are little islands. I don't know what's going on. Supposedly this is the same.
No, could be a little photons of light.
It's a photon. It's a one photon bounce back. So supposedly they have this video. I was expecting something pretty. So here you go. It says 41 seconds of video. And again, people need to recognize that this is a fisheye lens. And again, how much video do we get? Like Iru said, we're in the age of high definition video. So let's see what we get from them. Here's the video.
A nice video. I mean, how much time passed supposedly, that is real time. It's just
I have
tiny
no
seconds.
idea. I have no clue. That's it. Then it ends. So,
Oh,
they
nice,
Did, they
nice.
did give
It's
us a
like
video.
I'm
taking
convinced.
a picture
You know,
and
That was amazing.
That was
I can-
amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. Which
Yeah, I can do that in like
which people need to think how easy
20
that is.
seconds.
Yeah, people need to think how easy that is from a balloon or even a high altitude plane. When you take that, you're just traveling that little distance. Then you use a fisheye lens, you put it on a circle, and you get this same kind of image. It's the same thing as this, just with a little travel in it. But again, people will consider that proof. So yeah, insane. That you're totally right. This is an age of high definition photo or video, and that's all you get. Go ahead.
Can I show a screen one more time?
Absolutely. Let me bring you up here. Wait, where'd you go? Did I lose you? Erie, are you there? There you are.
Altitude.
Okay.
And let me just try. I believe is sorry because I start screen sharing without taking that taking the video, but I believe is this one. This one I believe is this one.
You want me to share you now, or not yet?
Yeah.
Okay, you're on. Sorry.
Okay, I mean the SSC guys, Sweden, a space agency, send this, this satellite to the skies. And when you see real video, real life video with real time lapses, you're gonna see this kind of behavior in the clouds, forming and disappearing and morphing. And you can tell that this is a real time lapse with real footage, with real life. And of course, this balloon reached like 35 kilometers up there. And you can clearly see that it's, I correct the lens, of course, but this is real life. How much life this video has in terms of the morphing clouds, the changing clouds, and it's still flat. And if you want, you can take this into a spherical lens and you're going to have that kind of image that you showed before. But why they cannot show us a real feed or real video without any kind of lags or latency in the feed, or this kind of excuses that all the time we receive,
Wow.
just that.
No, it's constant excuses, and that's great. Rewind that a little bit, and I'll watch that again. But
Okay.
How high up is this?
35 kilometers.
Oh, okay.
And you have technically or physically how the Earth breathes, if you want to see in that way. And supposedly why NASA or the Japanese space agency or anyone out there can show us this kind of live video without all the equipment and the money that they have.
Right.
It's amazing, here you can clearly see a live Earth, But it's like, and I'm gonna just deviate a little bit the subject, but when you go in terms of symbology, and when they talk about how the life came to the Earth, they have this kind of alien theory, which is called panspermia. I don't know if you heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
The people don't realize that kind of symbology, talking about panspermia, is like taking, literally is like talking about the sperm of Pan, of the god Pan, because let me just open this image to illustrate. Because for us, the Mother Earth is not capable to create life, so they need, or she needs, the sperm of Pan to bring the life. And the people doesn't take the time to analyze this kind of symbology all the time, because we have Pangea, the Earth of Pan, we have panspermia, and we have the god Pan, which and it's funny because when you go to the Jack Parsons biography in the Wikipedia itself, it tells us that Jack Parsons prayed to Pan all the time before a rocket get into the space. So you can imagine that. I mean, in the control room, Chuck Parson praying the God pan before the rocket take off.
I can believe it.
Of course, no, I know that, man. So I'm stop sharing,
Okay. Yeah, no, it's craziness what's going on, and this is also another thing that I've seen in the news a lot lately, that NASA is this one here is that they see the tornado, but again, I'm just showing you can see the curvature. Hopefully I got to reshare to everybody on Skype. Sorry. Let me do this and this and this.
Isn't that fun, always having to remember to do that, Jaron?
No, this is why I like you running the show and not me. It's very, very easy to figure out why I'd rather you be doing this than me. I'm always behind, and that's why the only thing I can do decently is run my own show where I'm just in charge of my own self and then I don't have to worry about other things. But you can see here, this is supposedly this Dorian here. You can see Florida. But think of how big the globe would be if this is the southern part of Florida. And again, you can see the curvature of the craft here. This is all just fake, fisheye, and through a window. I don't know if there's something up there, some sort of plane that they're looking through, some sort of high altitude thing. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's fisheye, and you can clearly see that. It's the same thing we saw. This is supposedly through some window. I don't know if this is Florida here. I don't really know what area this is or what it's supposed to be showing. But again, I saw that, which was interesting. And then the other thing was that I saw this article. NASA satellites confirm the Amazon rainforest is burning at a record rate. Yeah, Iru, I wanted your opinion of this. So, I mean, and anybody who needs, and I don't want to play this because I don't want to get any copyright, but you can go to Stefan Molyneux does a good video about it here. Am I showing people? Yeah. Stefan Molyneux does a good video where he shows here the Amazon is not burning. Brazil's Minister of Environment interviewed by Stefan Molyneux, and they go in and talk about in detail that it's just simply not true, simply not happening. Yet you can easily go and see all these kind of propaganda links saying that NASA satellites confirm that the Amazon rainforest is burning at a record rate, and it's simply not happening. It's just protected too much. It's the same as it's been in other years, possibly a little bit more, certainly not at a record rate. But again, they love to push this doom and gloom, this despair merchantry. They love to push it. What do you think about it, Iru?
Oh, in fact, in 2015 and 2014, the season for burning Amazon trees was more biggest than what is today.
Right.
But
Yeah.
The reason that the ISS feed has been offline, right?
Well, I'm assuming it's that.
Yeah. We asked for that live feed.
Yeah, it's obvious. I mean, clearly they could not show the fire as seen from space, and so they just cut the feed and said, "Gee, we're having some technical problems."
But now they've gotten rid of it completely, right?
I'm sorry?
They've gotten rid of that feed completely now?
I knew they said they were going to it. Did they actually do it? I thought they were just having technical difficulties.
Here, I'll show it too. So I'm going to go to Ustream. What is going on with my computer?
Yeah, maybe the smoke can, cover up the camera lenses.
I'm sure they don't want to have to validate any other major Earth events, as to why they can't, cover it. Because as it is now, the ISS weather patterns don't even remotely come close to, the live Doppler feed, supposedly. I mean, it's just crazy. And of course, when they had the hurricanes that they were covering, they somehow stopped the ISS from going around the Earth every 90 minutes, and they were able to just simply hover over the hurricane for a long, extended period of time, and nobody ever even questioned that. It's just crazy.
Right. So I brought up here, just real quick, just so you can see. The graphic that used to be on there said we're currently switching cameras, right, or we're having problems. Now it says it is with great regret that we must inform you that the ISS HD EV payload has reached end of life, which I don't understand why we have to have a capital E and L. That's just my own problem. Content for this web stream is being assessed and will be available in the near future. So somehow
there's a typo in there. Did you see that?
No, where?
In the very last word, they accidentally put in a letter F.
What?
Nobody understand that.
Yeah, so it should read the ISS HCEB payload has reached end of lie, but they messed up and put F in there.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's great, Bob.
I
Man,
believe
Bob
my,
is
my
good
jokes
today.
are bad, but
Bob is
this
good
one,
today.
man.
Yeah, Bob is good on jokes today.
Yeah, he eat the Ronald McDonald clown at the breakfast.
I'm looking at this video here. I don't know what this is. All of a sudden, it came back for a second or something. I don't know. What is this? Oh, 3 hours of what? Of gray screen. All right, it just looks weird. You can see that they have this graphic up all the time, but here there's like a pink field or something. I don't know. Yeah, but go ahead.
No, sorry, man. I like to share one more time the
Sure.
screen.
Yeah, and I'll just continue this real quick. This has been at least 2 weeks that this image has been up. So before that was this. Oh, good. They do have some from before. So the image that used to be up was this one that said, the high-definition Earth viewing experiment is currently experiencing technical issues. We are attempting to restore the video as soon as possible. So that was up for a while. That's why, I voiced, they've got it down during these fires. But then soon after that, you can see this has been going on for weeks. So this is what your $56 million a year, $56 million a day buys you, these views of Earth that just don't exist. They're just not there. And I did see one other one that looked like it was different. Where was that? What's this? Just some non-screen. So these are all 3-hour-long videos of nothing. So you can see here, 9 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 15 hours ago, you bring one up, and it's just 3 hours of live streaming this graphic, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, that's what's going on there with the ISS not being able to show you views, but supposedly they can tell you that the astronauts are seeing these views from space, and they're seeing the rainforest burn. But again, the Amazon is not burning. Just watch this video. This is actually Stefan Molyneux talking to the Minister of the Environment of Brazil, who just tells you it's flat out just media lies. And again, people want to believe it. They buy into this stuff too often. So again, the link to that will be in the description. But go ahead and share Iru.
Okay, I'm sharing right now.
I don't know. Every time you share,
I just want to, and I showed this before in Globebusterish shows, but I mean, when you're talking about hurricanes or storms, big storms or big weather patterns from space, they never show us. It's like the cloud thing. I mean, they never show morphing or changing in real time. That you need to wait like 2 or 3 days past the event to supposedly the NASA release something that is more live in terms of the changing cloud. But they also have this kind of drones that scan for the storm or for the hurricane. So when you start to compare, it's all made by drones and satellite or aerostatic balloons and things like that. They when you see, for example, like down here in the left corner, you see this kind of changing in the hurricane eye. It's just about 3 seconds. I mean,
right.
Why you show us 3 seconds? I mean, what happened with the GOE satellite, or not Himawari, because Himawari is supposedly filming the east of the world. But with all the satellites out there, we never have real-time feed. We don't have any kind of evidence for us to say, okay, this is from space and is real life events and things like that. And then you have all the equipment here from the ground for testing or for studying storms. They don't use satellite for nothing. They use planes, droplets, atmospheric balloons, and drones, and all this kind of technology. But they never use satellites. So.
And really, I mean, how higher? And I'll claim ignorance here because I don't know. But when we're talking about clouds max out at what? 20,000 feet? I don't know what the height is. Do you know, Bob?
Yeah. It's between the 2,000 meters to 10,000 meters.
Yeah, I think that's about right, but I don't know the exact figure now. But that's about right.
So even airplanes could easily fly above a hurricane.
Yeah, they have the global,
Oh, yeah.
the global Hawk drone that I'm showing here in the top right corner. It's about 16 feet, for example.
60,000 feet?
60,000 feet, sorry.
Right.
But you can go more if you want.
Right, but even a plane flying at 35,000 feet or 30,000 feet could safely fly above a hurricane. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure that what we're looking at is clouds that are not very high up, and they love to show these images and tell people that they're from space, but they could just be simulated. They also could just be data from these, like you said, the Global Hawk, or even just a regular airplane or any drone that they have. They can easily fly to the height. Yeah.
Okay, I'm stop sharing, and remember to reshare with us.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't have much else. One other thing, I did see that I believe Nathan Oakley messaged me and said something about there was an episode of their Flat Earth debates where they were talking about the AE map, and then they brought up to me to bring it up again or something like that. So just so everybody knows, and I'll put this in the description, the link to the description will be in the description. But basically, I did a video in the past called AE Map Removed from Earth.nullschool.net. And so that video is what I'm showing here. But I will include this link for anybody who needs to watch, just so they can see. They wanted to see if anybody could bring up the old images. And in this video, I show clearly when they used to have it available, and we used to be able to see the patterns. Here you go, basically the weather patterns, the wind patterns. And they were also talking about why was it shut down. And they said, well, I think Jaron covered it. They didn't remember which video. This is the video where I actually point out the conversation I had with the creator of it. Basically me asking him, why they've removed it. Here he says, hi, thanks for your message. I changed it because I wanted people to see that there is nothing special about the azimuthal equidistant projection having the North Pole in the center. The South Pole can also be in the center, showing the nice shape of Antarctica. So that was an interesting thing to say, because what they originally did, and people may not remember the order of things, there used to be the AE map on earth.nullschool.com or .net, whatever it is. And we used to show people that .net. Thank you. We used to show people that. The very thing the weird thing that happened was eventually when you went there and you clicked AE, it was no longer a North Pole centered projection, but it would change to a South Pole projection. So you'll see here I'm asking him, why was the azimuthal equidistant projection changed from a North Pole centered to a South Polar centered earlier this year? Would you mind telling me who ordered this change? So I just read you his answer. And then, I basically tell him here, there is no big difference, or there is a very big difference. There is no South Pole magnet. All compasses are drawn to the north. I said, love the site, by the way, but it doesn't make any sense for him to say, well, I wanted to show people that there's nothing special about the North Pole being in the center, so I put the South Pole in the center. So I was questioning him too, well, now people are going to think there's something special about the South Pole being. So then you can see down further a whole month or two later. So this was in September that we went back and forth. And then in November, I asked him, why is the AE map gone now? So then it was after they changed it to a South Polar projection, you went there and you clicked AE and it didn't work anymore. And so you'll see down here, he says, probably a bug. We'll address soon. So, a few days go by. Let me see if I can scroll a little bit along this conversation I had with him. Oops, go back. So thanks, I'd appreciate it. And, later I said, still a bug, I guess. Do you feel good about following the orders of whoever tells you to make these changes? But basically, it just came back that it never came back. Eventually, the AE from the bottom was removed completely. So I think that's what they were getting at basically on the Flat Earth debates, is wondering why it was removed, why is it still removed? And basically, this guy went from saying that it was a bug, first saying, well, I changed it to the South Pole because I didn't want people to think it was important that you're showing a North Pole, and then they just removed it altogether. So why? I mean, that's up to anybody's guess, but I will have this link in the description, so if people want to check that out. But that's kind of the story of the Earth.Null School. There's been a few people that have tried to get it back. As far as I know, nobody's been ever able to hook it up to real data. Is that correct, Bob, as far as you know, too?
So far not, but I do have a link to a channel that has restored it and at least quite a few hours of recorded data on it.
Okay.
And the good thing about that is, we don't necessarily need live data to, glean what it's trying to show us. What it's showing us is that, when you look at the weather patterns and the water patterns and the particulate patterns in a globe Earth versus an AE projection, I mean, that tells a huge story. Everything falls into place. Everything goes into alignment. Everything makes a lot of sense. It's a nice, continuous, smooth flow around in a perfect circle, which, by the way, also, in my opinion, kind of validates the AE map even more because of the fact that, you know, they're not changing the weather patterns over that. But when if they had a very distorted projection of the AE map, I think that we would see the weather patterns in certain places, you know, kind of take a jag, right? But it's not doing that. So I think that's even more support that the, you know, as far as the topology of the AE map, it actually is very accurate. So that's the big thing. It's like what you need to come away from that is what it's showing us, not necessarily the live data.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, you know, if you need that video AE map removed from earth.nullschool.net, that'll be in the description, so you can watch that video if you need to. Get me some more views. It's only at 30,000, and with all my videos, I think they deserve 3 million. So it's a little bit off.
Okay,
Yeah.
Me too.
That's
I
a little
agree.
ambitious, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
What's going
No,
on?
and,
Why am I not getting the views I deserve? Damn it.
Oh no, okay, man. And it's your channel. You can deserve whatever you want. But
Right. 4 million,
maybe
then 4.
this is not deserved. But I need to share screen one more time.
I don't mind. We can do that.
I don't know, man. That's more than 3 times, Jaron. He's
Yeah,
past
but
his
it's
quota.
not your channel, Bob. It's not your channel.
Yeah, what he said. All right. Okay, I've got it back on Skype.
No,
here.
what I'm trying to show is I don't know if you guys see this video. I believe I taken from Flutter Banjo, something like that.
Okay.
But there is a guy. It's an old one. It's called the Gleason Map, the masterpiece of a genius. I don't know if you saw it, but there is a complete 1 hour and a half guy that really explained very well, very detailed. I never see something like this, explaining how this map really works in terms of, for example, why I don't know if you if anybody knows how to use this triangle, for example, of the map, how to use, or better say, why it's here said south, east, and north, and how to use it, how to use this triangle in the map. And this guy take the time to give a little history before start working on all the issues that supposedly we have in this map, talking about the flight path from Australia to Chile, and all that kind of stuff that we already know. But first of all, when I see the guy with gloves, I say this is a professional guy. Because I never see a guy that use gloves to explain a map. But talking serious, this video is amazing. I mean, it's completely amazing. And this guy, like I said before, I never saw some detailed explanation in terms of how to use the Gleason map and how to measure with Gleason maps, how to take distances, how to plan in flight path. I just skipping forward because it's an hour and a half, but I want to the people out there take the complete image of the whole image of this video. And let me just skip a little forward because he has this blackboard or this whiteboard to the side, and he starts explaining how to use angles, how to use the measurements and the scale in the map, and how to convert it into miles or kilometers, all the stuff, and how to use strings to measure the distance. And when you reach the end of the video, you're gonna have this even. I'm gonna skip really forward, okay? Let me just go a little more forward. You have all this. It's not complicated, maybe because I just jump to this part of the video, and you see all these numbers and nautical miles and blah blah blah. So it's it's like something is complicated, but not. It's when you follow along, you realize how you can you know, use this map for real world scenarios. And even at the end of the video, he take the he take the time to explain how to use even the light of the sun to measure or to use with this map. So it's a really complete masterpiece. I don't know how many views this video has, but you know, I believe this kind of video it must be out there in I'm not saying in any flat Earth channel, because some, you know, after watching the video maybe you have some discrepancies or not, but it's a really detailed one to take the time to see and analyze, and, you know, brings new thought about this, because this guy took I never see something like this explanation.
Awesome.
I don't know if you saw this video.
I think I remember watching it. It was high level, but can you make sure you send me a link in the
exactly? Send the link. I definitely watch that.
I send you the video directly via WeTransfer, so no problem. At the end of the show, and for $10 for my flight ticket, I can.
No, you don't.
But
you don't need to send it WeTransfer. Just send me the link so that I can put it in the show notes, and I'll be able to watch it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I keep the original name.
Is it on YouTube?
Of the video. Yeah. Let me just put it here, and let me just paste it, because I believe it's still there. Yeah.
Okay,
For example, I believe I downloaded from this guy. It's only 100 views.
Oh yeah. Copy that for me, and then send me the link.
And and the guy, when he starts speaking, he has an Spanish accent. So I am the only one who who leave a comment, and for my sadness, he asked me that no, he doesn't speak Spanish. Fuck.
Oh.
Well, because I want to invite him to, you know, one of my show and trying to explain in the Spanish, but I'm gonna paste in the Skype, and you know, take the time to look at this video, anyone out there, and you're gonna maybe have some fresh answer for some problems with the AM map. That for me, it's the most incredible map out there for explain flat Earth, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we know it's a global projection. You know, people know that. We've definitely not tried to say that this is the exact map of the world, but it is something that can be reverse engineered. You know,
but
it could be the original map, and then you make a globe from it, which is kind of what he's describing with those
let me
numbers.
just, you know, reminder the people that, okay, you want to think that this is a global projection, okay, but remember that in this map, in these down corners, it says that the sun moves, not the Earth.
Right.
So if you want a globe head and you want to say that this map is accurate via on, you know, a globe model, but you must be you know, recognize that this guy was a geocentric guy, because he talks about the movement of the sun in this map.
Mm-hmm.
Just that.
Got you.
Okay, I'm stop sharing, and remember to share with us.
Yes, I will. Go ahead and stop. And let me... Oops. Hold on a second. Now I'm messing everything up. What is going on here? Let's bring this one up. Let's go here. Let's start sharing. All right. You should see.
It's called jeranism.
Screen now. Okay.
We got you now.
So that's basically, you know, like I said, all these links will be in the description, including Iru's donation link if you want to help Iru out with his trip to Amsterdam. Please do that. And that is coming up 27th, 28th, and 29th, mostly the 28th of September. Hope to see everybody there. And then, of course, we've got Dallas coming up in November. And Bob, tell us about Flattoberfest, because you'll be there, right?
Yep, that's coming up in South Carolina at a place called the Firmament in October. And I don't remember the exact date, but Karen B., I'm sure, will spam the link in the chat. But yeah, I'm going to be there. Rob Skiba, Mark Sargent, Authentic Intent, I believe, and a couple of musical acts. And it's going to be kind of an all-day event, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. So yeah, definitely check that out. And if Karen B is there, she will definitely send you some links. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. We do have some worry to have right now because a 52-foot asteroid discovered just 2 days ago will skim past the Earth on Monday at 2.5 times the lunar distance. So I'm not sure if we will have Jeranism Raw for sure tomorrow with Marty Leeds. It may be the case that we all get struck by this space rock and we have no show. But I really doubt it. I think you'll be fine. So anyway, there's this one, and then there was another story here. NASA said asteroid 2019 MO will not collide with Earth. Hours later, space rock smashes into Caribbean. Anybody know anything about this article? It's from yesterday. Oh, no, it's from today.
No, but here in the newspaper in the Spanish community, we have like 3 impact of asteroid like every hour. I mean, there is more asteroid than rain. It's amazing, man. I mean, I'm start praying to have some collisions because it's like it's gonna be near the Earth orbit, and near means like 60,000 million of kilometers, but that's near.
I just don't.
Yeah, but you better be afraid, though.
Yeah, you better be afraid. I just don't understand the article because it says NASA said, and this is from making sure September 8th, 2019. That's today. It says a small asteroid, or NASA said asteroid 2019 MO will not collide with Earth. Hours later, space rock smashes into Caribbean. So doesn't that mean that there was an asteroid that hit the Caribbean? That's what it says, right? Hours later, space rock smashes into Caribbean. So then I'm reading this, and there's nothing about that. There's nothing. Space rock was just 3 meters wide and exploded when it hit the planet's atmosphere on the 22nd July this year above the Caribbean. What are you talking about? That's
because the asteroid disintegrate and only touch the ground 3 photons of the asteroid, man.
2 photons.
Well,
I believe that. Yeah.
I think that it was coming in so fast it actually went back in time and collided in July.
That's
right,
what happened.
man.
You're right.
Nice point.
Space-time was bent by it, and it actually went through the wormhole. Because I just don't understand this article. This is from newsnation.in, but I kept reading. I said, well, where does it say an asteroid hit the Caribbean? But it says, coming back to asteroid 2019 MO, the space rock was just 3 meters wide and exploded when it hit the planet's atmosphere on 22 July. Hours later. Oh, so this is talking about, it's a recent article, but it's talking about back in time. Okay, I get it. I guess I get it. It makes it sound like they're talking about something coming up. Said asteroid would not. It should say would not. NASA said astronaut 2019 would not collide with Earth. Hours later, the space rock smashed into Caribbean. That would be the proper title of the article, but it's still nonsense. Just, I don't know where they get this stuff. This one here, this is all just clickbait. Look at this. Asteroid FT3, 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima bomb, may hit the Earth on this day. I just want you to click it. I'm not clicking. I'm not giving him the benefit of getting my click for that nonsense. So anyway, that's basically all I had for today. Bob, did you have anything else you want to talk about, or anything special going on?
The only thing I was thinking about was of course the P-Brain debunk of Bob the Scientism guy once again. It's getting comical watching that going back and forth. And other than that, not a whole lot. But I want to thank you guys for kind of taking up the slack today, because our house. And by the way, they just finished it, so I'm going to have to go in and check it all out. But Cammie had to go in and say goodbye to him, but they just finished it. Now we have the wonderful task of putting the house all back together again. So we will be back next week for sure, and I'll be back at the helm again. And thank you, Jaron and Iru, for taking up the slack.
Anytime. Yeah, I would have been more prepared if I would have seen your text last night, but I didn't see it till this morning. I was like, oh, shit, I better put something together real quick here. But, I talked to Ben, and Ben said that he was going to take some time off with the family or something. I said, that's fine, and then I couldn't get a hold of Iru, so originally it was just going to be me. And then last second, Bob, thanks for joining, and Iru as well. So it ended up being a 2-hour show. It ended up being decent. I have no complaints. Glad we did it. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it. It wasn't as perfectly put together as Bob's stuff usually is, but close enough. And if you want to donate to Globebusters, you can do that. There is a PayPal for Globebusters. That's paypal.me/Globebusters. So you can Sending donations you want there. If you want to send me mail, you can do so at P.O. Box 3044, Merced, California 95344. Also in the description will be the link to help Iru out get to Amsterdam if you want to help out there. If not, hey, we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate your views. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And to support me, best way is still to go to patreon.com/jeranism. Or if you have Venmo and want to send it there, you can do so easily. Venmo at jeranism. Iru, I have had people ask me if you have a Venmo. Do you have Venmo?
I try to, after you telling me that, I trying to open an account, but it's only for United States people, I believe, because here that is why I ask. Just the most easy way for me is the PayPal, and let me just recap and say thank you because I afford, I am almost in the 50% of the money that I need to buy the ticket. So thank you for those guys who sent me that at the beginning of the show. But no, I am not able to open an account of Vimeo.
Yeah, I had a couple people ask me.
Patreon and PayPal is my sources.
Your methods.
Donation.
Okay, great. So yeah, if you want to help out Iru, if you still have PayPal, like I don't have, womp, 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 womp. I can't help you Iru with PayPal, but some other way I'll figure it out. But I always want to help Iru. I'll buy you something to eat over there in Amsterdam when I see you. It'll be fun to see you again.
Take your words.
Will Linda be there?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
She's gonna be there. So
Sweet.
yeah, we're gonna meet again. So I and like I tell you, for me, this kind of event are really important in terms of first of all, because I really like to meet new people and have that kind of exchange in experience. Then I really enjoy doing my presentations, and I really like to do that. And also because anytime that I go into this kind of conference, when I get back to my country, a lot of radios call me, and that is a nice way to keep spreading the words. So that is why I really like to go there. And Linda, of course, she lives in Switzerland, so she jumps and waits the earth beneath rotate, and in 30 minutes she's there.
All right, it's very easy. Just hover up there and it'll just rotate right on through. Maybe we could play the synchronicity game again. I enjoyed that in Vegas. Haven't had that much fun in a long time, so maybe we'll get some more people to join us for the synchronicity game.
Yeah, 100 people, walking on the street of Amsterdam is going to be really nice.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
The dice and
Can't wait and decide. Yeah, so maybe people will join us if you're not going to Amsterdam. Now you've got an extra reason. Play the synchronicity game on the streets of Amsterdam with Jaren and Iru and Linda. So should be fun.
And mushrooms.
Yeah, and mushrooms. You got to go to one of the coffee shops, right? Isn't that what they say? I think you can.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Mario Bros.
Oh,
he's going to be with us. Yeah.
All right, so that's it. And then, like I said, tomorrow on Jeranism Monday Night Raw, join us either at tfrlive.com or you can go to the Jeranism Raw YouTube channel for hour 1, and that's tomorrow between 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific, and we will have the great Marty Leeds 33 on the show, and you can learn about how to join his website and get some of his infinite wisdom. And we'll just go around one more time. Bob, any final words?
No, not a whole lot. Just stay tuned for next week, and we'll be back, and I'll try to have a really good show put together to make up for being gone this week, sort of.
Sounds good. Being half gone. You were half gone this week. I enjoyed your commentary, so it's worth all its price. Price of admission alone was for Bob's comedic additions today, and Iru's comedic additions. Iru, any final words before we go?
No. Just I believe I talk a lot, so thank you anyone out there, and see you the next time.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody joining us. I remind you guys to do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till next time, this has been Jeranism and Iru and Bob. Peace.
Peace.